Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling 101. I am your host, JP John Poz from the Two Man Power Trip of Wrestling. And of course, this week I am joined by none other than the hacker himself, Ben Hamin. Ben, welcome back.
That's
Pro
right.
Wrestling 101.
The Taliban takeover for SummerSlam, John Poz. I might just hold you hostage, see how much Kevin Sullivan will cough up to see if he'll pay for your sorry ass, and we'll make a little money here on Pro Wrestling 101 today. Good to be back, man. Good having some fun. Just finished a big AEW review with my man Chris Silvio. Did the Friday Locker Room with Stevie Richards this morning. It's a wrestling Thursday here at Hamin Media Group recording all these shows, man. But glad to be back with you.
Nice. Was it easy taking over with the Taliban over there? Was it a pushover in Afghanistan?
It's a weekend. I mean, we've had to set up with Joe for a while, so it was easy, man. You got all new guns, got all new rides and shit. It's tight. I'm trying to learn how to fly a Apache and a Black Hawk helicopter by next week. Just got to know how to fly. Landing, that's not part of it.
All those drones, all those
billions of tax dollars in weaponry you guys just left for us by design, so we're excited. Yeah. We're excited to use it. We're excited to learn, and we'll be coming back over real soon. It'll be a good time,
man. What a disaster. But let's talk a little wrestling. This day and age, I feel like the psychology has completely changed. It's completely different. You're old school, but you're still in the new school because you're still wrestling. You're still doing it.
Yeah.
Have you noticed over the years, just a dramatic change in just the simple psychology of wrestling, like where it's gone?
Yeah, I mean, a definite change in the switch around 2012, 2015, Young Bucks, Bullet Club on the rise era, you know what I mean? And where that went, and being trained in the traditional style for TV, OVW, Southern style, there's plenty of little spots that get done, from the Dusty finish to the Tennessee two-step or whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Yep.
That have been around, that have worked forever, from Jerry Lawler to I mean, you can name Bobby Eaton, right? That have, it's always going to work. You just need to know how to plug into it and get to the root of it, that heels need heat, and you make your baby face off of your heel. Now we have baby faces getting heat because they think they're cool, and it confuses the audience. Not that they're confused by what they're seeing. There's an inner confusion. There's the psychology of wrestling works on the subconscious. It doesn't work just on the storyline and what they're seeing level. There's an id inside of us that gives us that waiting to exhale feeling of completion. And some people need it. OCD people, that's amped up. It's way amped up, right? And some people with autism have it in completing patterns and things like that, So I'm not trying to put any heat on either people afflicted with those things. I'm just saying that it's already in us as human beings. Those are two different, things that turn that up. But we all want that. We all want that feeling through what we're seeing. And the words and the moves are the wrapping paper for that story in the ring that should give us that feeling. So last night in AEW, Jericho has the Judas Effect band, and MJF goes for the ring at the end, and Aubrey Edwards catches him and takes the ring, turns her back. MJF comes back around, who's the heel. Jericho has the bat, hits him in the stomach to set him up for the Judas Effect, and then he doesn't do it because he realizes it's whatever. But if a babyface, which Jericho is, counters a heel's weapon when he was trying to be dastardly, and the babyface gets back over, that's okay. But then the heel beat Jericho clean. He uses the Judas Effect on him and hooks him in the Fujiwara armbar, and Jericho taps out. Heels don't win clean. And babyfaces, if they use the weapon in reciprocity and revenge, then it's okay because that guy was going to use it against him, and it's 50-50, and he just got duked that way. But that's the finish, not the heel winning clean. Heels don't win clean. They cheat to win, and we break the rules. So now baby faces are doing heel things instead of selling because they want to be cool and they want to do the heel shit, well, then be a fucking heel. Because when you do that and blur that line, it takes away from my heat. And if I beat you clean, now I'm not really that dastard of a guy. I'm just a wrestler. And you can't be the best baby face possible if I don't have a ton of heat, because I have to pay it off. But if you're taking the heat, that just took some off of my place. Do I get to come out there and hawk t-shirts and go, who wants to be with dad? Yeah, you guys are cool. Do I fucking do any baby face spots? If I do, it's out of total satire and making fun of somebody, and they'll hate me more for it because I'll turn it up. But like, it just doesn't. They want to cross the line. It's usually baby faces doing this. And I shout out to my tag partner Blaze Haram, one of my tag partners, who's doing great things, coming up real strong this year. We're in the back, and he'll pop. If this gets back to us, whatever, I tell him to his face anyway. He wants to work with. We're working with Rick Recon, who I've had plenty of battles with, who's been on AEW, who's a baby face. He's kind of like a Seth Rollins of the Indies, like good looking, fucking greasy dude. And found his voice from like a cyborg to now just being a baby face with sex appeal and cool moves. But Blaze wanted, he goes, should we do a dive here? I go, no. I go, we ain't doing no dives, man. That's baby face shit. That's cool moves.
Right.
Like, we don't do cool shit. We can do impactful moves, but like, if we start oohing and on them, now I'm going over to this new era of everybody gets to dive, heels and whatever. You know what I mean? If I'm going to dive, I'm going to get up on the fucking second rope and yell 9/11 and fucking get my heat before I do and jump on people. You know, like, it's not like, whoa, duck one, slide out, you come back, whoa, dive, like that they want to do that. And to be honest with you, this new shit in all the face off and the Will Ospreay kind of yada yada started out of ECW with the Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn fucking face off of duck my, or jump my sweep, roll through, come back under, duck under my kick, roll up, come back, I'll spin kick, duck that, hook me, waist lock, turn around, you flip over the top, back elbow, duck, face off. Like, that is what started it, which is good counter wrestling, even though it's a little spot heavy and looks a lot better than what guys are doing now. Yeah. But that back and forth of like, whoa, run against the ropes and do this and duck that and flip this and come through and da-da-da-da, just so we can get to that point, became so egregious and so like a mockery of wrestling and competition, which is what we're supposed to be creating here. And it turned it into Cirque du Soleil for some guys who are very agile, who can do incredible things. I'm not trying to say Will Ospreay and those guys aren't great performers physically, that they can, but we can do all that shit. We just don't have to do it in one match to start with, because that ruins the rest of the card, because now everything's been done. That's a problem. Guys who want to do everything in their match, who don't give a shit about the whole show, that's a big part of this problem too, John. And the fact that they can do it, but they don't know when to do it or how to make it mean something. And those are the key points that I wanted to kind of touch on, because you can do all the moves in the world, but if you don't do them at the right time in the story of the match and have them sold the right way, then we're just doing shit that doesn't mean anything for our own self-ego stroke and to ooh and ah the crowd who doesn't really know what's going on. And they're not really being taken on that story that's going to give them the emotional id of at the end, because none of what they're doing builds the right way to get to that point. Just an overbooked finisher after they've kicked out of 96 things. Bro, if I seen a guy jump off the Empire State Building, he hits the pavement and brushes him fucking self off and goes, that wasn't too bad. Well, no, you should be splattered all over the fucking pavement and dead, right?
Right.
Yeah. So nobody does that again. Or if like, that's not what we're doing. We're going, I jumped off the Empire State Building, hit the ground, ran back up the stairs and did it again and still didn't get hurt. Well, now we're phony as fuck. And it's all just to go, look, Ma, it's like little kids wanting to jump in the fucking pool. Look, watch me, Dad. Watch me. Watch me jump in, Dad. Watch me. Right? Same old stupid fucking 4-year-old, 5-year-old jumping in the pool of water rings. Like, it's not that impressive, but you got to put it over. And
Yep.
then it just became bad habit because Will Ospreay and whoever else, I hate to keep
Ricochet.
Ricochet, they get booked in Japan because Japan reinforces that this wrong shit is over, whether they're getting booked in Europe for these smarks who put it over, who don't know any better. And then that trickles down to the indies, to all the guys I see too, who want to be those dudes, who now take all that bad psychology and then do the moves dangerously and worse and
Yep.
don't even get close to what they're doing. And those guys are missing most of the time. So there's a big trickle down effect of guys who want to get to New Japan who think that emulating those dudes will do it. And guys have done that and gotten signed by New Japan. So fuck me and whatever I think at the end of the day. But to me, none of those matches will ever stack up to the story, even though I didn't care for the choice in the finish last night of what Jericho and MJF did last night with a classic wrestling match. That shit is 100 times better. In I go back to a John Cena versus Kevin Owens. Great fucking story, great finishes to get guys over. Nobody had to do any dumb shit, risk anything. Everything was believable or sold. This no selling of constant moves. You know, I like reverse out and the threat of violence. When I mean that is like, I'm picking you up for a slam. In the audience's mind, the slam's coming, so they've already got the satisfaction. You slip out the back, push me into the turnbuckle. I take a front buckle. You hook me for the fucking Cody gimmick. I go up and over and reverse out for you, get you in the pile driver. You fucking, you know what I mean?
Yep.
All those moves are inferred. So in the audience's mind, psychologically, they've seen it. Even though we didn't hit it, we plucked that heartstring. So when we do hit one thing, it means something. You know, not let me hit all three of these and then you kick out all of them. Now we just buried Undertaker's finisher. We buried Cody's finisher.
Yep.
And, you know, like, no. And to be honest with you, if you're doing those moves, now you've picked them off the tree that everybody else gets to pick from. If we just infer the violence and don't hit it, now later it can be used as a pile driver and GGP wins with it. You know, so that's like taking care of the whole show in the locker room. And this new style that doesn't give a fuck and is so self-serving of, as Rip would put it, ... dive. You know, that's what really killed wrestling in the ratings, because it became Cirque du Soleil, and now we legit have a Cirque du Soleil guy as a champion. And he's not helping the draw. He's not, he might ooh and ah, wow, that guy flipped like the guy in the Olympics we just saw flip. Good. Like, what is that telling story-wise? Where is the Cain and Abel brother story? Where is, you know what I mean? All of the Hamlet, whatever we need to. That's what we want in our storylines and in our wrestling psychology. The up and the almost, and then the take it away. Miro did a great job with this with Del Sol, Fuego del Sol this week on Rampage. The kid hits him with 2 or 3 fucking loop-de-loo ranas or whatever, right? Head scissors. He goes out, hits his head on the gate, and almost takes a 10 count. The hope is built. You can cut the hope in the room with a fucking knife. He slides in at 10 and kicks the shit out of Del Sol, gives him nothing more, and chokes him the fuck out. That's quality psychology. It doesn't need to be a 7 deadly sins match, which we've covered before. Hope, shine, come back. You know what I mean? All that shit. All he did was he had heat coming out as the champ, gave him hope because he gave him 3 things and used the outside and took it away. 3 pieces to that one act, and that is classic psychology, and made the audience go, they almost got the but then Miro took it away and they got the and then they got the good feeling when Buddy came out and gave his pal the contract. So that would, like, that's classic stuff to me, man. And nobody has to do a bunch of shit and risk themselves with high level dives. He still got his lucha stuff in, still looks super athletic, didn't take a lot of risk and use the moves in the right way to put the much bigger heel at disadvantage and use a technicality in wrestling to make it believable that the whole crowd is in on. Those are 3 different ways of using how your audience is already conditioned properly and in the right way. And then you put heat on your heel, and then you make your baby off your heel. Heel came in, took all that shit away. Crowd was left flat as fuck. They offered him a contract. Crowd happy as hell. Gotta have heat to make a baby face. Can't just come out and go, I'm the best in the world, baby face, even though a guy's about to do that on Friday. I'm the best in the world, and now you all should believe in me. You know what I mean? Not that good. I come out and go, fuck America, fuck all you, and I'm raising your gas prices. Send out grandma can come out next, and grandma's going to be over. They're going to want grandma to kick my ass. But if you send grandma out first and I just go beat on her, well, she wasn't that over from the start.
So who do you blame? Is it the fans' fault? Is the wrestler's fault? I
Yeah.
mean, whose fault is it?
Ignorant bookers who are fanboys who become obsessed with Japan and booking these guys and making this normalized, and they don't have any idea how to work for TV. An undercard of indie guys who look up to New Japan dudes and wanted to be in Bullet Club and all this shit, and they saw what they were doing, so they just emulate it, and it all ends up being meaningless bullshit. And then TV for normalizing it and bringing it back, and allowing the fans to take over with This Is Awesomes and Fight Forevers and all this shit that really doesn't mean anything. That's just the fans getting their shit in to put over this back and forth, no story shit.
Yeah.
It really doesn't mean anything. None of the moves mean anything. It ruins the believability of wrestling, of being on the cell. And guys get hurt and they punch their bump cards 5 times as quickly. And you got guys who are 27 years old getting neck fusion surgery instead of learning how to do character, work a match the right way, and having longevity in this shit and making sure they're not hurting anybody else and taking dumbass. And then what's worse is that the girls want to work like the guys, but they want to work like the guys who do that shit, and they have no athletic ability to be performing some of that stuff. And that's why you see Red Velvet scorpioning herself into the fucking barricade and all this other shit, bro. You know, like they just don't even want to work how women should work. They want to do all the insane stunt show shit, and they don't have the muscle mass or skeleton to be able to handle those kind of bumps, bro. Like, not that men do, but a guy like Miro can, you know. And it gets, and now it's dangerous, it's ignorant. And there's been times I was backstage at where were we, Binghamton or Watertown? Might have been Watertown. I'm standing there with fucking Barry Darso. Okay, and we got fucking Demolition on the card. Watching a match with a guy I got a lot of respect for, and fucking, I won't name his name, but then when he wrestles against me, he doesn't do this shit, or against DGP. But now he's wrestling against a kid who wants to do all this young buck shit, and this guy will do that stuff, and he can do it well. He's wrestled Matt Hardy, he's wrestled against the Bucks. He knows his shit, and he probably should be on AEW right now. But anyway, it starts out fine, and I've had this with Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. We've talked about it. Great chain wrestling back and forth, telling a story on a body part, and then all of a sudden we go into this Japanese wrong style bullshit lucha stuff that instantly kills all the work we were putting in on that story. Close that book up. We got to fucking do our own autobiography right now and get all my shit in, and then we'll try and get back to that story. Nope, it never works that way. You can't start telling a story and then divert completely. You can't tell Mary Had a Little Lamb and then go into the Wizard of Oz. You know what I mean?
It makes no sense.
Work. So, dude, without saying nothing, this is when I knew I think this is the day I became a grizzled old vet. We just fucking looked at each other. I looked at Adam and Barry Darso. He looked at me. He just fucking exhales. He goes, and turned around and walked. We both just walked away, bro. It wasn't even worth watching the rest of the match because we sat there for 3-4 minutes, like into it. I go, oh, that's fucking solid. Da, da, da. And then they both just went down into the fucking sewer with it, and self-egregious bullshit. And it wasn't even worth watching the rest of it, bro. And
Sounds
when
like an Adam Cole match.
yeah, and when fucking Demolition is there, and they take a minute from playing cards to watch your shit, and you pretty much shit in your own hand and wipe it all over your face. I don't know what
Yep.
to tell you, bro. Like, because that's when you're gonna come back through the curtain and go, "Excuse me, Mr. Darso, did you get to watch my match?" "Yeah, I watched, man. How was it?" "Oh, it was best ever, bro. I wouldn't change a thing." That's what I'll tell them. You know what I mean? Because they don't get it, and it ain't worth wasting my time and my breath on it, because I would have to go, all that shit you did after you worked that awesome Hammerlock story, until you guys started getting fucking Falcon Arrow kick out, superplex, buckle bomb, Superman punch, rock back on the second rope, clothesline, all the bullshit Shield stuff that made no sense. Until you started doing that, you had a match going. But once you did that, you looked like a fucking idiot, and you don't know what you're doing out there, and your finish didn't mean anything. I can't sit there in a locker room and say that to a fucking guy unless I'm running the show. But if I'm running the show, I would never allow it to get to that point,
Yep.
So that's the difference between these old schoolers, where they see a guy's brilliance in telling a story, but it ain't even worth wasting your breath on it, because what they did in the ring right there tells me everything about where their head is at, based on the card, based on what they're doing in their match, and they're not worrying about getting their opponent over, paying off your heat, or getting heat on the guy, because it's just about, ooh, watch me, ooh, watch me. So yeah, hopefully that wasn't too much long of a ramble.
No, love it. Actually, a few years ago, me and PJ were at a show. He was wrestling later on in the night, but he came out right before kind of intermission. I guess he was going to get his table set up and sign autographs or whatever. The legends like to do at intermission. So watching the last match, and it was like a turn. This guy who was a veteran, been wrestling for a long time, but he kind of has a new school attitude and likes to book all the young guys and stuff. Like, I think he's trying to keep up, and just was weird. So we're watching it, and his partner turns on him and does a stretcher job minus the stretcher. So completely takes him out, completely destroys him. The other guy who was in the match helps him, and the two guys completely take him out. So like, oh wow, okay, interesting way to go in intermission or whatever. The guy just hops back up and gets on the mic and says he's going to kill him and all this other stuff. I was like, what the hell? I go, they're just completely. PJ's like, is something wrong? I was like, what? Why did he just totally no sell? Just the psychology of the thing. I was like, that just didn't even make any sense. Why would he
even trickle down? And I got into it. Not got into it because I love Silvio and Genocide on Light the Fuse today. Last night, 2.0 is fighting Darby Allin and fucking Sting.
Yep,
dude. They 2.0 put Sting, power bombed him through a table, and he did this Stinger no sell, not just like punch and Hulk up or a chop and like, woo, power bombed. Let me repeat that. 2.0 power bombed Sting through a fucking table. He stood up and no sold it. If there isn't a worse trickle down of this shit than that, where they want to take old Sting with this new shit and expose wrestling, and the crowd popped. So maybe I'm wrong. That to me is stomach churning bad, bro. That makes everything go, hey, all this is fake, everybody. Everybody else has a sell a power bomb, but Sting, through a table, nah, he can stand right up, bro. Like, I fucking hate that shit, that it's gotten to that point. Because the reality is they should have put Sting through a table, and he should have been dead. And those are the guys that put Sting through a table. Then now they have heat. Instead, they got no heat, and wrestling is fake as fuck. So some fans some Mark boys could fucking, this is awesome. The worst, bro. When you give your crowd the power, and I loved it in ECW that the crowd was, a part of the show and could do that. But you have to be smart to be able to take the power back, because they want to be taken on the ride. They don't want to fucking run the ride. And then when you see the bullshit version of what that ECW stuff was at NXT with the bullshit Fight Forever and the This Is Awesomes and both these guys, and how blatantly egregious that is for the fanboys, it has nothing to do with what's really going on in the ring, because the shit in the ring is rotten. and guys who I care about are taking insane fucking bumps for these fucking goofs. Like to see a Tommaso and a Gargano concussing themselves week after week and having to get neck fusion surgery when you got two little kids at home, bro. And I mean, I'm a big Ciampa supporter and fan, but he's doing that stuff for them and for game and for HBK's approval when he came from OVW and he was brilliant at doing character. And he's worked his ass off in the gym, so he wants to be physical in the ring. I get it. But dude, to watch my buddy take a fucking kryptonite crunch off the top of the cage through a table, and that's a fucking kick out. We're done here. We're like, yeah, like that shit should not even be in the match, bro. Should be teased, and especially a guy who's had neck fusion surgery and multiple concussions. Why are you even allowing him to do that? We're not taking care of our friends that we claim we care so much about when we do that kind of shit, bro. We really aren't. And so many things could go wrong so quickly, and somebody's entire family and life could be changed for what? Some 40-year-old tape trader masturbators in the fucking crowd who want to chant fight forever? Fuck them. You know what I mean? They don't get to dictate this art because they could never do what I can do. That's why I take you on the ride. That's why you pay your ticket to see me, not me to fucking get you over. No way, bro. And that power shift is the sick, fucked up part of kind of the indies from 2014 to it kind of fell off with COVID, I guess, but who knows?
And the funny thing is with that story with me and PJ, the guy who did that, who no sold it and got up and cut a promo and this and that, he was the booker. So you're right about bookers just killing it.
Yep. They don't know. And because they went from fanboys who were cheering that shit to somehow running their own fed. And, and whoever taught them. Was Rip Rogers over their shoulder telling them they're a dumb motherfucker for 2 years like he was for me and correcting me? Were they looking at Al Snow's booking and in the after meetings? No, because they didn't sacrifice to go be around the best to learn the craft the right way. They just were able to snake their local athletic commission in to give them a promoter's license. They used their fucking welfare check and their fucking tax return to buy a ring and start up an indie and fucking name it after Epic or fucking Warrior Life or whatever the fuck you want to call your fed. And now they're made because they're willing to put up the money and that a named talent will come in. Whoever taught them? Nobody. And you could say that about the executive vice presidents at AEW and that they're just starting to get it. Bucks know how to buck, man. They can make money. Great merchandisers. How many TV shows did they write before that?
0.
Who taught them about a scene study? Maybe I'm wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not saying what they do, they don't do great, but I was there when Cody was there. Cody wasn't running production. He was in the ring with Spears. He knows how to perform, writing and formatting a show and an entire experience. Not to say he didn't learn it from his brother and his father. He might be exception to the rule, right. But you know what I mean? When I'm talking about these shindy promoters who want to play Vince McMahon and they see these bad habits and they don't know what the fuck, or they do a layout angle where they should be getting stretchered out where the guy's wife is crying because she wasn't smartened up to it and she thinks the boys went into the business for themselves. Like instead he gets back up to cut the merch promo. Wow, that guy was an asshole. He kicked my ass. Come on over and get some 8x10 signed. Okay, sure. And unfortunately, this industry is filled with 80% people like that, bro.
Do you think, though, that's really like the crux of it? Why each year there's less and less people watching it? Is it just like the suspension of disbelief is just totally gone, or like, okay, like, that's, oh God, like, I know creative is terrible too, but the psychology behind it, a lot of the stuff is cringeworthy, and I think that turns a lot of fans off, right?
You got to have good creative to start and characters. So if people can't connect to a character and deliver, or unless it's somebody local, like nobody's really putting time into that. Who's the most over indie guy who probably just got signed because of character?
Who the hell just got signed? Fuego del Sol.
Well, no, I wouldn't say just signed. He's been on ROH's roster for a little bit.
Oh, Danhausen.
Does he have to do shit?
No, I've seen a match of his. Somebody sent to me, and he was literally like dancing and he only punched and kicked. He didn't take a bump, didn't do anything else. And I was like, "What the hell is like up with this guy?" But it was all character, and the fans were like into it. And then he cut a promo, and fans were really into the promo. But he literally did nothing. He didn't take a bump.
Welcome to being a fucking pro.
Yeah,
Like I try
smart,
to take
smart.
one bump. I've had 3 matches now where I've taken no bumps, and it was one of the best fucking things on the show, bro. And it's all because of circumstance, character, and setup of the opponent and working their stuff the right way to keep them alive and me to get my heat until it's time to pay it off, bro. And then one big bump meant everything.
That's great
So
psychology too, right? I mean, you're leading to the bump, right? You're building it up, and you're making the people
we
want it.
taking a bump if it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Why would you throw yourself to the ground in a heap if there's nothing behind it except for the fact that look at this cool move that I took? I took this. Well, you're a fucking idiot. I would have let him get me up, slipped out the back, and fucking and glommed him and had him sell away to get to the ropes to do it on there. So it looks like he's teasing for it. But you took it. You're a fucking ace, and you kicked out because you're just the toughest wrestler on the roster. Like they
Right.
fool themselves, and these are the same guys when I got to go an agent. It's in some of these shows where I'm like, and that's usually some of my creative, but the boss who's the Mark fan who turned promoter, I got to take a title off a guy, bro. They think they're really champs. They think they are really that they really want it and that everything fucking means everything that they have this phony replica fucking belt that was made, bro. These are the indie guys that you're dealing with, and they will fucking grumpy cunt about it and not want to do business or get a little sly fucking dig in after the match where they think nobody heard it, but they had to get it in instead of seeing the big picture of what's really going to happen when they come back as the baby face to get over. But I have to take these kids on this whole fucking storyline until they actually are in that moment of getting the title back and they believe it's fucking real again. Even the indie workers in the ring believe their own fucking hype, bro. That's how fucked up some of the kids in this generation are, man. As opposed to being like, the belt is a prop. Yeah, we want to put it on people that are going to draw tickets or that they can live vicariously through or see it taken off of that people are going to have a big reaction to. Not, you're the best, you're the champ, you're the toughest. Like, if that was true, I'd be champ of 95% of fucking every place I worked because I could kick the shit out of most of them with ease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I know that this shit is phony and that I have to take the audience on the ride, but they don't, man. Like some of these weekend warriors, this is their everything, their id, their persona, and that's very fragile. That shows that I don't know. There's a lot of mental issues if you fucking believe that, man.
Yeah.
That's true of most baby faces. Most heels are the nicest guys and with it and well educated and treat people perfectly behind the scenes. Most baby faces are dim-witted, vindictive, little crybabies behind the fucking scenes. To be honest with you, bro.
That's what I've noticed. It's usually the opposite. The
And they
heels
make more
are nice
money,
in the faces. Yep.
and they get to make the money off of our shit. It's fucked up in that respect. But welcome to professional wrestling.
Is the psychology of wrestling ever going to get better? Is it ever going to change? I know I'm almost like maybe being too old school, and maybe there needs to be a little bit of new school. But is the psychology ever going to get better in wrestling? Because it's getting pretty unbelievable.
I think we've turned a little bit of a corner. I think we hit a high water mark with Unbelievable. I think things with like Mark Henry going to AEW. I liked what he said. I might not say it like Rip Rogers, but I'm going to bring that Rip Rogers mentality of wrestling. You have Serena Deeb setting a standard. Like if you watch a Serena match as a woman and you were doing that other dumb shit, the dives that Red Velvet's blasting her face into the fucking railing and shit, just complete idiocy trying to be the Young Bucks. And then you watch a Serena match, the light bulb should go off of, okay, that's how I need to do this shit. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't, then you're a fucking dummy who's going to punch their bump card, hurt yourself, hurt somebody else, and not be around for very long. Because you can get shit hurt in this shit super easy. But I like that there's a Mark Henry there. I like there's Serena there. I like what I see from Holiday, Thunder Rosa, Genocide, being trained the right way, Seidel Dojo people who even do a lot of high flying stuff. Matt Seidel does all that shit, but Matt Seidel puts it together the right way. There's a big difference, right? And he might have been guilty a couple of years ago of doing it a different way to pop the crowd, but so be it. He's making his money. He's doing what promoters want him to do. But from what I see from him, usually everything makes pretty goddamn good sense. Guys in WWE, from Ricochet to whoever, I see plenty of things where I'm like, ugh, why even do it? You know what I mean? Like, I get that you're that flavor of ice cream on the Baskin Robbins board that I'm not, but it never leaves wrestling never leaves the crowd at their highest. Character does. So you can do all that flippy shit. I can go out and say the right words, and they're going to remember me more than they're going to remember you. And you just possibly crippled yourself or somebody else for no reason whatsoever. When we could do a quarter of the amount that he does and save the rest of it for other oh my God moments, you know, instead they got to get it all in. And now once you've seen the fucking trapeze show, lion tamer, fucking strongman all in one match, what else is there for the crowd in the second match? And they go, and then the lion tamer. Well, we just saw him tame a lion while he was out there. Like, seeing one guy stick his head in the lion's mouth, the next guy who does it isn't as impressive. So stop eating up all that shit on the show and being a selfish fuck.
I think that's a great stopping point for this week. Great job as always, Ben. Let's hit the plugs. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Check out the website tmptempire.com. Of course, patreon.com/tmptempire. Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, man, we appreciate you guys hanging with us while we get Relm issues fixed and rebuilt. So I'm releasing a lot of stuff at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Big shout out to Jeff. He's sending stuff out in emails. The new animated Master Shoot Theater. Yeah, you know what time it is, pal. It's that goddamn time. It's over there on the $5 face slap tier, dude. Mandir is just killing it with all that. It makes me laugh so hard. And yeah, man, just producing around the clock here for all of our clients, whether it's beautiful people, Stevie Ray, doing Light the Fuse, Larry Hankin videos, working on comedy, dating show stuff. It's just every day is nonstop production. It wears me out, but I'm very thankful to have the opportunity, man, to work with so many great producers, social media people, and to make a community of fans that actually get it. And that's how we battle back against stupid shit like this in wrestling, is by showing the right way. And when they see it, it's undeniable, and it gives them that final feeling that they're looking for, as opposed to having them chant for something that they know isn't the real deal. So as long as some of us are still here able to spread the knowledge, we will. But I think you could compare that to every art form, what we talked about today, bro. Hip hop at one time was at a high water point, and now you've got a lot. You've had 15 years of trash claiming that it's great stuff when the audience knows better. And now the veterans are back, like Nas with a new album, or Kanye, and I'm sure Jay-Z soon, to show, or Wu-Tang, to show this is the way it's done, children, and playtime's over with here. So they can do all that shit that they want to, but it's preschool, and we're 12th graders, man, at the end of the day. So y'all, appreciate you going to ProWrestlingTees.com, Ben Hamin, Cameo.com if you want the promo. Happy to cut them on whoever, infidels. But this is JP and BH back on the assault, doing the 2-man power trip, Pro Wrestling 101, infidels. YOLO!
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you right back here next week for a little Pro Wrestling 101. See you next week, folks.